Hey everyone, my name is Judy from Happy Holistics and thank you so much for dropping by. So I've always considered myself to be environmentally friendly, but recently I've been reading a lot more about garbage, zero waste, and recycling, and I can do better. Every time I walk through the city, all I see and strewn all over the grass and sidewalks are single-use napkins, straws, coffee cups, plastic beverage cups, wax paper wraps, and takeaway bags, and etc. And it's all tossed everywhere. A lot of the times right next to the garbage can. Well, fine, maybe I'll consider that people didn't just throw garbage right beside the garbage can, but instead maybe the wind blew it over or an animal tracked it there. Whatever the reason, it doesn't really solve the problem of what happens to our trash, because unfortunately once it leaves our hands, it doesn't disappear. It gets sent to the landfill, in a poorer country, it gets processed, for example in e-waste, or it gets sent to the recycling plant. All of these different ways of processing garbage has their own caveat. Yes, even recycling. So when I leave the house, I bring what you might call a zero waste eating out kit, which allows me to avoid single-use disposables. Before we begin, I do go by the general rule of use what you've got already. So what you don't want to do is go out and buy a whole bunch of new stuff, because that act of buying stuff generates the demand for companies to make more products, which means more stuff on this earth that we really don't need. So if you have stuff that is similar, use it. Here's what I've got in it. A water bottle or insulated bottle. Sometimes I bring both if I want water and tea, but this is a lot to carry, and refilling at fountains or restaurants is so easy you can get away with bringing just a small bottle with you. Two apps that tell me where I can refill water are WeTap and Quench, available on the iPhone. When you open up each application, it'll show you where you are on a map. I edited that part out since I am at home. You can tap any location that's close by, get more information and directions. WeTap shows you if the water flow is good, and Quench lets me know when it's a fountain so I don't have to bother anyone to get it. I have gotten these bottles filled at coffee and tea shops for paid beverages as well as water. I've never had a problem with it in Toronto. When I traveled to the States, however, some places insisted on filling up disposable cups and pouring them into my containers. So upsetting, yes, but I also get that they're covering their asses regarding potential hygiene issues of accepting outsider items. I don't know, I also think on their part that a simple hand washing could do the trick. Next up is a reusable straw. Not the most necessary thing, but sometimes even ordering a drink in your own container, servers will put a disposable straw in it. So if you put yours in beforehand, they'll know not to put in another one. Reusable food containers. If I'm gone for the entire day and have to worry about multiple meals, I'll grab some nesting bowls with lids so that they can fit inside each other and take up less space in my bag. The smaller containers can hold snacks like popcorn or whatnot. We also use these containers to store leftovers at home, so I take whatever is clean and not currently holding anything. Here are some rectangular boxes. Repurposed jars also work for foods, sauces, or cooled drinks. I love them because the screw tops are usually leak-proof, and since they've gone trendy, you can often find different lids to fit the standard mason or ball jars. Since I'm reusing my own, I don't need these lids. Reusable utensils is next on my list. So I've been gifted with various travel utensils like portable chopsticks, mini versions, and foldable utensils, so I'm extra prepared. While I was in school though, I just grabbed cutlery from the kitchen drawer and that worked. One tip is you should look for utensils that'll fit into your lunch boxes so that you can just toss them into your used container and bring it all home to wash, instead of having to wrap it separately in a paper napkin, for example. Last in my kit is a washable cloth napkin instead of paper napkins. If it's clean, it can be used to wrap a sandwich, used as a makeshift placemat, and then to wipe your mouth afterwards. I've also got a swatch of super absorbent cloth for any potential spills, just in case. I've used my own containers for takeout and haven't had any issues with businesses. Several rules I follow though include declining single-use disposables like napkins, straws, and etc. You may have to refuse a couple of times because they are pretty ingrained habits for a lot of staff. Just gently remind them they don't need nor deserve attitude. Which leads to the next rule, be nice regardless of outcome. I personally think that it should be mandatory for everyone to work in the service industry so that we're all kinder to each other. Customers can be horrible and make you cry, so don't be that person. Go during non-peak hours since you'll be asking for something unusual. Many staffers are trained to be especially efficient during peak, so it's automatic that they'll grab their disposable containers, fill them up, and load you up with handfuls of utensils, condiments, and napkins, all packaged nicely in a plastic bag. Then they'll have your drinks on the side with paper-wrapped straws, and of course, it'll be in one of those drink holders. Make sure your containers are scrupulously clean, like AO to using a container which has remnants of your last meal. I wouldn't serve you in a gross-ass container unless I was trying to get myself fired. It increases the liability on their part, and it just makes good sense to hand over a clean container. Finally, be prepared to answer the question of why you're doing this. Thus far, no one has been dumb enough to ask me why. They might already suspect that I could launch into a 5-hour lecture about garbage. However, it could be a good idea to have a one-sentence summary of your reason. I'm trying to be more eco-friendly. I'm reducing my contribution to plastic waste by targeting my consumption of single-use disposables. The average Canadian generates about 4 pounds of garbage a day, and I'm doing what I can to minimize that. There's actually an island in the Pacific Ocean created solely from trash. I'm trying not to contribute to that. If you're interested, Google the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's a real thing. Plastics can take thousands of years to break down. Even eco-friendly, biodegradable plastics need the right environment to decompose, and they don't often get these conditions in the landfills they ultimately end up in, etc., etc. When choosing materials, my top choices are glass and stainless steel. Consider these things when making a selection. Its weight. Glass is heavier than metal containers and may not be as commuter-friendly. If you're clumsy or have young children, stainless steel might be more durable. Many glass bottles have a protective sleeve. Mine is made out of silicone and I've had it for about 2 years. Shape and size. Square and rectangular containers are space efficient inside backpacks, but I've also brought round bowls when I know in advance that the restaurant usually serves in plastic bowls like poke or smoothie bowls. Leaching may be an issue. My stainless steel water bottle had a metallic taste for the longest time. Of course, it's said to be non-toxic, but who really knows? I like glass because you can see through it and make sure that it's clean, especially in the case of my straw. Particles cling to it whenever I have a smoothie or whatnot, and because I can see the insides, I know if I need to scrub it more thoroughly. The same goes with lids. When things like food or mold gets trapped between the actual lid and the rubbery part that prevents leaks, I know when I have to pick it out and scrub it. And I've had other brands of metal water bottles in the past that started rusting inside, so that's something to be aware of as well. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I will see you next week.